All right, welcome to the first of its kind, world-changing manufacturers network. Lisa Ryan has her ears to the ground and her heart in the game. Get ongoing education and new connections right here with Lisa and the Manufacturers Network. Buckle your seat, listen, and spread the word. Here's Lisa.
Hey, it's Lisa Ryan. Welcome to the Manufacturers Network podcast. I'm excited to introduce our guest today, Scott Mackenzie. Scott is husband, father, and passionate industry educator and the managing partner and founder of Industrial Talk Media. He talks to trailblazers, out-of-the-box thinkers who impact not just present-day industry processes, but instead maps out the future with unique vision and extraordinary courage in order to change the world. Scott, welcome to the show.
Holy shnikey. I was holding my breath on that one. And that's why I wanted to talk to you, because you fit that role. You just absolutely, you're a trailblazer.
Thank you so much. And I just want to clear it up right off the bat. If people are saying, boy, his voice sounds familiar. Yes, Scott Mackenzie is also the person who introduces the show, and I'm having him back.
Yes. It's an absolute honor. Absolute honor.
Yeah. So you have been the voice of my podcast for coming on 3 years now. So why don't you share a little bit about your background and what led you to doing what you're doing with Industrial Talk?
Roger that. The way it rolled is I had another company and I decided that I needed to open doors. Just as simple as that. And of course, I was noodling on how to open doors. And here's, quite frankly, I had a maintenance company. And so I was in industry and did maintenance stuff. But the reality is that nobody really wants to talk maintenance. It's not one of those high passion type of thing. It's more of an expense. And people are like, I don't want to do maintenance. Anyway, fast forward, I was driving back from a client and I decided, I'm listening to a podcast and I said, hey, for whatever reason, I can do that. And clearly I was stretching myself. And I said, okay, I'm going to do it. So the journey began. I did my research. I Googled everything. I had all the information, the mics, the mixers, whatever, the do's and don'ts. And at that time, God, I've been doing it for, a number of years. Got about 3,000 of these things under my belt. And at that time, I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. And then I had to do one and then do another one. And then what happened was that whenever I was talking to a client and said, hey, I hear you have an outage coming up, and I think the listeners of Industrial Talk would like to hear what you have to say, even though I might have had 2 listeners at the time. Would you like to get on the podcast? And they'd say yes. And then you create this friendship, and all of a sudden hey, I also do maintenance. Oh, that's great, man. Here's an RFP. Ta-da. That was it. That's the journey. And I sold that company, and now I have a media company. And I'm just, to your point, to your intro, to your fabulous intro, I enjoy education, and I think that especially now, don't you think that it's just super fast out there? It's like things changing fast. And the only way that I know how to deal with it is just like, you've got to keep on learning. You got to just learn every day. Yeah. So anyway, I'm passionate about that. How's that?
So what is it about the industrial sector that drives that passion, and what are some of the things that you do to keep that passion alive?
It's the people. That is it. All of the solutions out there, all of the opportunities to collaborate. It's always people. I know that there are efforts that, how do we leverage more innovation and technology in what we do, which is happening whether we like it or not, because of some of the challenges that you deal with at your organization. And that is, I've got to figure out how to keep the lights on. I have to do more with automation because I can't find the right people, or there's just a churn. So it's always people. And that's what keeps me passionate. And I think that we're in a renaissance, for lack of a better term, a renaissance when it comes to where we are in industry. It's an exciting time. It could be unsettling, but it's an exciting time because there is so much innovation happening. And it's just, that's what keeps me pumped. It's just the people. And that's what we are. That's what industry is. It's just really people. We haven't got to the point where it's the robots are making and everything. We're not there yet.
We're getting closer,
Oh, yeah.
but not there yet. So when in all the people that you talk to, how do you see these technological advancements that are just coming at us faster than ever actually shaping the future of manufacturing and even getting into the construction type of industries?
Yeah, it's like drinking from a fire hose right now. And what I find, and I've been guilty of it because as well as I do, there's a lot of tools out there to help you do what you do and do it better, more efficiently, and compress the time, blah, blah, blah. The challenge that I've seen is that, yes, the innovation and the technology exists, but who do I, back to the person, back to the human element, who do I trust to help me along on that journey? Because it is happening, but a lot of the stuff, you can approach a lot of this incrementally, but you have to recognize that it is happening. And if you are stubborn and you tell yourself, I don't need it because I've been doing this, my business is 75 years old, whatever it might be, and you don't take advantage, that's a risk. My counsel, my guidance would be to find that right Sherpa to help you along that you trust, because there's a lot of shiny objects out there that you can waste a lot of time, and you don't want that.
That leads to the next conversation is, what do you think are some of the biggest challenges? Of course, there's shiny objects everywhere, but
Yeah.
but what are manufacturers doing that could be done better? Where are their challenges that they're facing?
Yeah. I think that because I'm a passionate marketer, I love sales, I love marketing, I love that profession. It can be difficult for many of these manufacturers because they've got their start by manufacturing whatever the widget is. That's where they feel comfortable. Now we're asking these leaders, these important leaders, to put themselves out there, to, in essence, make them feel uncomfortable. It's a fact. We need to do a better job at marketing and opening doors, telling that story, amplifying your message, and creating those opportunities, because somebody's going to do it. And that's just the world we live in. And I look at marketing as the blood pressure in your sales. It's pushing, and you got to have those things aligned pretty tightly. And that's that. And you could do it incrementally, but I just think that maybe we can market better. Maybe we can do that a little bit. And that requires the leaders to get away from what they are comfortable in.
Yeah, well, and especially with the newer generations coming into industry now, you're talking about younger millennials, you're talking about Gen Z, and they want to know why they should work for you. You are not interviewing them anymore to come to work for you. They're interviewing you to see if you are worthy of them even coming to work for you. So when you're talking about some of the things of getting out of your comfort zone, because you've talked to a lot of people, over 3,000 on your different podcasts.
Yeah.
So what do you encourage leaders to do? Maybe take those baby steps getting out of their comfort zone to start that conversation that's going to attract industry's shining talent to come and continue to change the conversation on manufacturing and attract more younger people into it.
I'll just refer back to when I started podcasting. It was at a point where you have to just say, for me personally at that time, okay, Scott, you got to do one. And it was horrible, right? It's still out there. It's horrible. And then you got to do another one. And then you got to do another one. I think that has to be that recognition that it's important and you're going to feel uncomfortable, but you have to do it. And you have to really begin speaking the language of those future leaders. And you're absolutely spot on, Lisa. They're interviewing you. And it's really an interesting dynamic that exists in the workforce. But if you're not speaking their language and demonstrating that action-wise, it's going to be harder. It's going to be harder to attract that talent and backfill the people that you need to backfill and generate that passion. You just got to do it. You got to find, I'll give you the example. Just get on my podcast. I'll make you feel warm and fuzzy and you'll be a rock star. That's it.
Yeah.
And you start there and then and then you do it again. And it's hard. But if I did it, don't come to me and whine about how difficult it is. Because I know.
Funny thing, a little bit behind the scenes. I don't even know when I was on your podcast. It was years ago. And you were just like, you got to have a podcast. And I fought you tooth and nail. No, I'm a really good guest. I don't want to ever have my own podcast. And here we are coming up on 3 years later. And because of you, I have a podcast. And it's just been fun. But I think the thing that is the most fun about the podcast, because some people get all nervous about it. What are we going to talk about? What am I going to say? Because they're so used to everything being teleprompter, marketing lingo, all of this stuff, where podcasting is authentic, it's real, it's conversational. If it's done the way that you and I do it, then it's just a conversation. What have you found as far as that really getting to the heart of it and that authenticity and the conversations that you have with people?
Yeah, I have a form. And right off the bat, I learned quickly that I don't like to have two conversations. One, a conversation around schedule that I have an open calendar, you pick the time, and that's automated. I have a lot of automation just because I don't want to have that conversation. Two, I don't want to have the conversation around what topic is important to you. I've have enough conversations that I can I got that. And it's just simply this. What's the topic? They always have a topic, right? There's always a topic. Supply chain management. Okay, fine. That's pretty broad, but supply chain. What's the problem? I can't source my products quick enough. Whatever it is. I'm just spitballing here. What are the solutions? What's this and this? What are the roadblocks? And it 999 times out of 1,000, the roadblocks are always people. It's always the human element. That's it. And in a podcast, it's, hey, so you're having supply chain challenges, right? Yeah. Why? Why is there a problem? We're having a hard time. The problem is that these things, this, that, and the other thing. Have you come up with a solution? I have this and this, but that sounds great. But what are the roadblocks? Oh, it's getting people to buy in. There, done. We just wrapped it up. And that's it. That's for every podcast. And people can appreciate that. People can say, oh, yeah, I have that problem. Oh, I would like to know what they have as a solution. Ron, you're absolutely right. My executive team doesn't understand, or whatever it might be. That's how it rolls.
So besides the podcast that you and I have done together, which have been several on Industrial Talk Radio, but what are some of the other memorable podcasts that you had, like things that you learned, technologies you uncovered, or just a really cool conversation? Which ones come to mind?
Oh, there's three. One, everybody talks about use cases. You've heard of use cases, right? What's the use case, right? What's the use case for this, that, and the other thing? I talked to the original guy that came up with the term use case. He was like, but you know how he explained it? He goes, yeah, I was just trying to figure out a word that says, why are we doing this technology? What would be the use case for it? That's it. And then it just caught fire. And of course, my pay grade and his pay grade are just two different things. He speaks way above my ability. And then the other one is the term digital twin. Everybody's talking digital twin. I interviewed the guy about digital twin. He's the dude. Same thing. It's funny how this happens. I'm just trying to create this digital twin of this physical. Digital twin. There it is. And they're just incredible professionals, and they're amazing. And then the third one, this was pretty cool. This is augmented reality, which is quite fascinating when it comes to how do you apply augmented reality. And I was speaking to a gentleman from Boeing, and whenever they build a plane, the old process would that you'd bring out these maps. So for the cabling of a plane, you can just imagine how many cables are in a plane. They're everywhere, right? And so when you're building a plan and you need to identify or find the right cable or wire or whatever it might be, you pull out a map, you look at it, you hope you find it, you pull it, whatever. It's very tedious.
Mhm.
Augmented reality allows them to put on glasses, and all they have to do is look up and find the cable they need to work on.
Mm.
And we're still at the sort of the infant stage of what's happening within the augmented virtual type of applications within industry. Those are pretty cool. Those are pretty cool conversations, and they get a little ethereal sometimes.
Yeah, it sounds
But
like
it's
it.
like, oh, wow, that's pretty good. Anyway, those are
Yeah,
some
no,
that come to mind. And then, of course, all the people, every single one that I've had conversations with are just salt of the earth. Just they're all memorable. They just are. Like, that's cool. Like, you're memorable. You're cool.
thank you.
There you go.
So as you look forward, what are some of your aspirations for the
Yeah.
future of industrial talk radio and your
Yeah.
role in changing the industrial media landscape?
Yeah, I think education. So I always say educate, collaborate, and innovate. And I think that those are the areas that I'm pretty passionate about. The education side, if you go out to my website, Industrial Talk, you'll see podcasts, you'll see, and then you'll see my learning management system, and then you'll see blogs and all that. It's all geared around education. And the way it flows is I do conferences, as you are well aware, and they're just great. They're on site. They're talking about what's exciting, and it's cool stuff. But when you start talking about podcasts, you can only go so deep into podcasts. You can't start diving into process elements, but not to say that they're not important, but it's not the medium to use that. So you have to figure out what might be the better medium. So that brings about webcasts, and then bringing leaders that can actually show the process, right, on a PowerPoint. That's good. But you can only go so deep. An hour, you're not diving in. And that brings into the learning management system where you can just handouts, quizzes, feedback, all of the stuff that is necessary for a class. That's where that resides. And then you can really begin to expand upon it. It gives you great value. That's where I'm at. I have all of those elements, and it's exciting. And for me personally, it's living that Discovery Channel dream. It's really, you do that? That's cool. Can you talk in a webcast? Yeah. Oh, cool. It's just, I get to soak it up. That's the selfish side, but the more giving side of being able to educate is just exciting. And then we have to do it. And it's just so fast. So fast. Conversations that I was having 5 years ago are what? That's dinosaur.
Right.
It's completely different today. So that's how I roll.
So tell us a little bit about your learning management system. In a world where none of us have enough time to do anything, what does that look like, and how are your customers using it?
Yeah. The learning management is, I use it as I have all this information that I've gained from my conversations. And for me, once again, I'm always going to gravitate to marketing and sales. And if I have strategies that I use today for marketing industrial talk, I'll share it. What the heck? I don't care. Here, I'll share it. This is where, and we all are wired that way now. I'll go out to YouTube. If I don't know how to, I don't know, put a special code in my WordPress website, whatever it might be, I guarantee you it's out there someplace. And somebody says, go here, do that. So the learning management system is just another mechanism that I can personally market, drive people to, and then just share all of the stuff that I have. And you have, like, I'm planning to do a course on Google Ads, and we were just talking offline. And you can be super complex with Google Ads, or you can be like me, where I'm not trying to be too complex. I'm just trying to understand and learn and do it.
Mm.
And that's what I want to share. You don't have to dive deep and be like all in and segment and all. It's just, you have so much power that exists out there. I'm here to say, hey, I get a cent per click, 1 cent per click. It's nothing, but I'm learning the same thing. I'll share that. And that's how I use the learning management system. And then I share and I talk about it. And then I have downloadables. Here, use this, like my process map of how I market. There, I have it.
Yeah.
It's right there. Download it.
Well, and I know that marketing is one of your passions. So as we're already, can't believe it, getting to the end of our time together, why should your superpower in marketing be on the radar or a superpower of the manufacturers listening to this podcast?
Because I've been in their shoes. I've actually been in their shoes. I've taken a company public. I've ran another maintenance company. I've been down that road where I was reluctant to even care about marketing. And then I realized I have to. One day I had an epiphany and I said, Scott, you got to understand this stuff. It's not going away. We're not going backwards. And because I've been there, I recommend, I'm not offensive. So that's it. I've been down that road. And if I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
If I can, that's it. That's easy. Not easy, but don't come to me and whine. I'm not going to listen to you whine.
And if somebody did want to continue the conversation with you, what's the best way for them to get a hold of?
Industrialtalk.com. There are buttons there. Click on it. All buttons lead to me on the website. Just go there. Or you go out and find Scott Mackenzie out on LinkedIn, and I'm pretty active there.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
As am I.
Yeah.
My friend, it has been such a pleasure. Is there anything that you wish that I would have asked you that I did not?
No, you're skilled. All I would say is that the future's bright and fun and exciting. Don't look at it. Changes happening. And whether you want to change or not, it's happening. So I recommend that get going, man. Just find your trusted Sherpa to help you do this, don't do that. That's how I always roll. So
yeah, and make sure you reach out to Scott if you think that you would be a really good guest on the Industrial Talk podcast after you take a look at his stuff.
Yes, absolutely. I would love that.
All right, Scott, thank you again so much for joining me today.
Thank you. Absolute honor to be able to speak with your fine listeners.
I'm Lisa Ryan, and this is the Manufacturers Network podcast. We'll see you next time. Thanks for listening to the Manufacturers Network podcast. Do me a favor and share this podcast with your friends and colleagues so we can grow this network and connect more fantastic folks just like you. You can either send your buddies to the website at manufacturers-network.com or share the Manufacturers Network podcast on your LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or wherever you and your industry friends hang out. The bigger and faster we grow the network, the stronger and deeper the community we'll all have. Thanks again, and I appreciate you.